Hey there, and welcome to another Kidlit Chat. I have the wonderful Brent Taylor here. He is the Senior Literary Agent with Triada US. Hey, Brent, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Just fantastic. Thanks so much for doing this. We're so excited to get to chat with you because you've done some really, really awesome books, which we will chat about. But I love it because sometimes people, they always say like you're meant to do something. And you like, you must have known just like really early on. Like, when did you know you wanted to get into publishing?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I knew that I wanted to be a literary agent. Um, so as soon as I was falling in love with young adult novels and paying attention to those authors online, I saw them talking about, um, the team of people that they worked with to help publish their books, and the agent's job just appealed to me most.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, which is different. A lot of people in publishing, they'll do like editing first, or they'll work at some houses and stuff, and you jump right into agenting. So why did you choose that path, and what do you love most about being an agent?
hmm So I think that for me, it was my middle school experience that
Yeah,
turned me into a lifelong reader, but also turned me into a future literary agent. So when I was in middle school, I started reading all of these vampire series because they were just so riveting and entertaining. And it was the first time in my life that I felt that books weren't something, just boring that you have to do for school. I
yeah,
felt like, wow, books are a movie in your head, basically. And such an amazing way to pass the time. Books entertained me. And then as I kind of made my way through all of the vampire books, I had to start looking, to other genres. So I started reading more realistic fiction, and that was around the time that I was figuring out that I was gay,
yeah,
and, figuring out my place in the world. And I started, as I, read more realistic fiction, I found books with gay characters.
yeah,
And that was so life changing for me. And it was the first time that I had seen, you know, gay people in a book and just living their lives. And I was like, wow, this is okay.
yeah,
Prior to that moment, the only context I had for gay people was like people making like horrible remarks about them and
right.
being gay. So I that was the moment when I felt like, okay, not only are books entertaining, but they're also incredibly special and
Yes,
helping you figure out your place in the world.
yes,
So kind of the fact that books can be both of those things, and where books intersect between being entertaining and being life changing.
yeah.
I think that is what turned me into a lifelong reader and made me want to work in book publishing.
Yeah, and particularly as an agent, right? Because you get to like see that mix because you get to be like the middle person between the author and the publisher, where if you're in publishing, you don't get that as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you love most about being an agent?
I think there are so many amazing moments, that you get to experience as an agent. You get to call the author and tell them that their lifelong dream is coming true. That is one of the most special moments. And, getting to see the reviews coming in for the books. But I think for me, what has always been most special is when that finished book finally arrives and
Yeah,
you see how gorgeous it is. Like, how it has gone from a Word document into this beautifully bound and printed and published book. Um, I just love like the beauty of a physical book.
yeah,
Um, and that is really special to me because then I begin to think about how the book is no longer, just the authors or just the publishing teams, that it's going to go out into the world and readers are going to find it. Um, and it's yeah, so I think that's the moment that I love the most is when that book is finished, published, and it's now out there for readers to discover and fall in love with.
oh, that's always my favorite part too. Like when you get to see
hmm
it, so exciting. Ah, I love it.
hmm
Well, so you've done some really cool books and with a lot of really fun titles. So guys, you're gonna have to go look at Brent's whole list because there's so many fun ones. But what do you think's been your most favorite project to work on? Slash, what has you most excited right now?
Yes. I mean, I love every book that I work on. And as a reader, my taste is so wide ranging. I love like very commercial, like fun books. And then on the flip side, I love like deeply literary books as well. And I think that's why agenting is best for me, is because I get to do both of those, right? I don't have to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I have to say a book that is just incredibly special to me, at this moment in time, it would be Red, White, and Whole by Rajni Laraka. So this is a middle grade novel in verse about a little girl who's growing up Indian American, and her mother is diagnosed with leukemia, and she feels caught between two worlds in terms of being Indian and American. But then she also feels divided, like her life is split in between, before her mother was diagnosed and after. And so she's trying to find a way to be whole. And it's truly one of the best novels I've read in my entire life. And it was published about a year ago, and it just won a Newbery Honor a couple months ago. And I love it so much. From the moment that I first read the manuscript 2 years ago, I haven't been able to shut up about it. But
that sounds so exciting. Well, and it's like that age too, where you're dealing with all those things, middle school, because is the character 13 or like 11 or?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds so cool. So that was Red, White, and Whole. And who is it by?
Rajni Laraka.
Yes. So you want to check that one out, guys. That one sounds awesome. Is there anything new you have getting ready to come out that's pretty fun?
Yes. So in May, I have a couple books. There's a board book called Bye Bye Binary, about a baby that does not want to be defined by gender stereotypes. It's very fun. It's written by Eric Duran. And then my client, Jason June, is releasing his second young adult novel called Out of the Blue. And it is a queer retelling of Splash.
Yeah.
And it has a beautiful cover. And then my client, Phil Stamper, who's a young adult novelist, is releasing his very first middle grade novel called Small Town Pride, about a young kid who's going to throw his town's first Pride Festival.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. But back up a second. Splash, you mean the movie? Like from the 80s? That's so fun.
Yep.
That's so fun. Yeah. How small is the town in the third book that you mentioned?
A pretty small town in Ohio. And Phil grew up in a small town in Ohio. So he writes from experience, and he captures it perfectly.
That's so fun. Oh, I love it. Those are so great. Well, so we chatted about your books, and I know you like to watch shows every now and then. I think we chatted about Selling Sunsets. But if you could hang out with any fictional character from a book or a movie or anywhere, who would it be and why?
I think it would have to be Elle Woods from Legally Blonde. Yes, because when I was a kid, I loved Legally Blonde so much. And in fact, I remember telling my parents, I want to go to Harvard Law School and be a lawyer, just like Elle Woods. And they thought that was hilarious, and told all their friends. And so, and then I grew up and figured that being a literary agent for children's books was more appealing to me. But I think the reason why it would be Elle Woods is because I feel like she and I would be best friends, or I would desperately want to be her best friend, because she is so smart and driven and ambitious, but she's also very big-hearted, and she allows herself to just feel unbridled joy for the simple things in life. And she has this humility about her that I just love in very smart, successful people. So I just feel like she'd be a blast to hang out with. So that's my answer.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's such a unique one too. I would not have guessed, but that's so fun. I love Elle Woods. But the real question is, have you practiced the bend and snap?
Of course. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. That's the best. Oh my gosh, now you make me want to watch that movie. I haven't seen that in forever. Okay, final question, because I always do research whenever I do one of these chats, and there's like not a lot out there on you. You know, you don't really post on social media. You keep it very, very business, which I appreciate, you know, because it's all about branding. But if someone were to learn something about you, what would be something that would be unexpected that they wouldn't guess about you?
That's such a good question. I think they perhaps would not guess that I guess my secret talent is that I can do a backflip. When I was a kid, I did cheerleading and gymnastics. And every summer I try to do a backflip to make sure that I still have it. And so, you know, the jury is still out on this year if I still have it or not, but we'll find out soon enough now that the weather is getting warmer.
Do you only do them outside?
Yes. Like in the grass, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fun. You're not scared of you're like smashing your head?
No, I feel pretty confident enough in it that I'm not. And the other thing is that with doing flips and stuff, it's like if you hesitate, that's when, you know, you kind of mess up the flip. So you have to be confident when you do it.
Yeah, I guess that's just even like a good confidence booster. Like if you want to do something really hard, go do a backflip and then go back and send your email or do your call.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my gosh, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Brent.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, if you want to learn more about Brent and all of his awesome clients and check out all of those great books that he mentioned, go to his website at btaylorbooks.com